Hello everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. Today on Cooking with Rev we're going to be making, I don't know what this is actually called. I guess I'm going to refer to it as hot dog bake because I don't know what else to call it. So if you want to know what hot dog bake is, stay tuned and I'll show you. So let's flip the camera around as usual. I'm going to show you the ingredients you're going to need to make hot dog bake. Okay, the first ingredient we're going to need here is hot dog buns. The next item we're going to need is hot dogs. I'll go over how many in just a moment. Next item we're going to need is quarter cup of onions. So that's approximately half. I'm going to go ahead and dice up the whole thing just because I can use whatever's left over in a later dish. So we're going to go ahead and dice up an onion. We will need 1 can of Hormel Chili. Or any other brand of chili at this point. Hot dog chili is basically what you're looking for. Hormel works. There are generic brands you can use, whatever your preference is. This one is no beans, but if you want beans in your hot dog chili, then go for it. You'll need mustard. You will need, although the recipe does not call for this, I'm going to add it, some ketchup. And you will need shredded cheddar cheese. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so the tools you're going to need are very simple. You're going to need your 9 by 13 cake pan or whatever you have available. But before we start that, we do want to preheat our oven. Turn the light on so you guys can see what's going on here. So we are going to set this to 350 degrees. One thing occurred to me when I was looking at my recipes the other day. I say 350 degrees, but not everyone is on the same temperature scale. This is 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's my oven timer saying that it'll be preheated in 6 minutes. 350 degrees Fahrenheit is approximately 175 degrees Celsius. So for those of you on the European scale, sorry, I will try to start doing equal measurements in both scales. So the first thing we want is our hot dog buns. Let me get something rigged up here so I don't have to hold the camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we have our cake pan, and here we have our hot dog buns. Now, the recipe says to do this a certain way, but I'm not going to do it that way because I don't see the point in it. Basically, it wants you to rip up all 8 of these hot dog buns, and then put them around in the bottom of the pan, and then kind of smush them down and make a little bit of a crust. Ripping up 8 hot dog buns, last time I did this was way too many. What I'm going to do is open the hot dog buns like so, and then just kind of place them down in the pan. I'm not sure how many we're going to need here. I'm going to assume probably about 4, maybe 5, depending on how easily they open. Sometimes you get these stubborn ones that do this number. I'll turn it around there. If you have a big enough pan that you can fit all 8, go for it. I don't care. If you want to use like just the bottoms or just the tops, go for it too. I don't care. So let me see if I rearrange these if it fits any better. So if I do put one there, one there, one there, I can do half of one there, one there, one here. So yeah, I'm going to use about 5. Actually, you know what? Now I'll put it back the other way. We'll do it this way. Screw it. But yeah, shredding all these up into little pieces didn't really make much sense to me when you can just easily do this. And then I'm going to take my final one and actually rip it in half. I'm going to put half of it here and all but half of it down here. Or maybe I'll switch those around. Do the thicker part as the small one. Basically put these here and this bigger one there. Now we want to kind of mash them down so they all lay kind of flat and even. Like so. Now, it says to go ahead and just cook it like this and put everything else on top of it. I'm actually going to pop it into the oven for about 10 or so minutes while I'm cutting everything up just to let these toast a little bit. just so they kind of form more of a crust and don't get all soggy when you add all the stuff on top. So while we're waiting for the oven to preheat, I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to start cutting up my onion. So while we're waiting for the oven to finish preheating, I think it has about another minute, we're going to go ahead and start cutting up this onion. If you guys want to go ahead and rip up the buns, if you're using a proper size 9x13 cake pan, you could probably fit the other 2 buns in there. It just seemed like a lot to me when I first did it, but it does call for 8 buns. I ended up using 6 out of the 8, so it's up to you guys which way you want to do it. Now I'm going to show you how to properly cut up an onion, hopefully. And there you hear our oven beeping. That means it's done preheating, so I'm going to go ahead and pop these in there just to let them toast up a little bit. Like I said, I don't want them too toasted. Actually, if you want to pop these in the toaster beforehand, you can, but then when you press them down, they're going to get a little crumbly. So I'm just going to pop them in the oven, let them kind of toast up till they're a nice golden brown, and then when I top them, they won't get all mushy. So these are going in the oven, then we'll be back to cut the onion. Okay, so those are in the oven now. So how do you cut an onion, for those of you who don't know? First, you're going to need a nice sharp knife. I'm using a serrated one. These are my good knives. So what you want to do is you want to cut this little fuzzy part off the top and the bottom. These onions are kind of flat for some reason, but you're going to do your best to cut it off anyway. So you got to go slightly above it. Oops. So you're going to go slightly above there and just kind of cut down like so. Then you're going to turn it over and do the same thing, like so. Then what you want to do is make a cut down the side, not all the way through like that, but just enough to where you can get this top layer here. See all the different layers? You just want to pull this entire top layer off and throw it away. Some people like to try and cut it up. It's all attached to the skin. Get rid of it. All the skin goes right along with it, just like that. And now you have a onion. Okay, so now what you want to do, we're going to cut the onion in half, roughly along the same mark that we did the first time. Actually, I was going to cut it a different way, but this is okay. So we're going to do half at a time. Actually, you know what? No, we'll go back to the way I was going to do it. So I already made the mistake of cutting it, which I didn't exactly want to do. While it's whole, what you want to do is make small cuts, not all the way through, but you know, good 3/4 of the way through the onion, going this direction. You want to try and move the knife away from you, never pull back, because when you pull back, you're allowing the spray from the onion to come up, and that's what makes people get teary-eyed. So you just kind of want to push the knife forward, not draw it back. And I still make the mistake. So once you get about halfway through, turn it so you're not trying to cut against your fingers, and do the same thing going this way, like so. Then what you want to do is turn it to about where you would normally cut it. Now you're going to make cuts this way as well. And again, as you get halfway through, rotate it. Do the same thing here. Make one more maybe. You weren't supposed to cut it in half first, sorry. So now that you got a grid pattern, what you'll do is turn it up on its side like this, and then you're just going to slice it down all the way through, and as you can see, it comes off instantly diced. Now since I did cut this in half, I can do one half at a time like this. And just keep going until you get to the point where you hadn't cut anything. You can see there, these are still not cut up. And you're just going to chop it with the edge of your knife like so. Here's the other half for our onion. Can't really see it. Oop, I almost cut my fingernail there. Be very careful when dealing with knives. So now I'm down to the point where I haven't really cut a whole lot all the way through. So I'm going to cut these ones up, but I'm going to find a dish to put these in first. Okay, so here I have a small dish. Again, throw all this other onion crap away. And you just want to throw the diced onions in, like so. Now, why am I chopping up a whole onion if I only need half of it? Because, like I said, I'm probably going to make something else tomorrow that will need diced onions. And now I have them already pre-cut, so I don't have to go through this all again tomorrow. So there's that first part. And just move all the mess away. And now we'll try and cut up the remaining pieces. So now you're going to kind of want to do the same thing and just kind of make small slices throughout the onion. And going this way. At this point they're small enough you might as well cut all the way through. It's not really going to hurt anything. And I just got a little bit of the juice in my eye there, so that sucks, but we're still working. It's not horrible yet. And if you have one of those veggie choppers, like a slap chop or something, go ahead and use it. Save yourself the hassle. If you're wondering what part I'm actually throwing out here, it's the little tiny center bulb thing. Right there. Just take that out and throw it out. This outer peel I'll take care of in just a second. So as you can see, I'm cutting away from myself. That allows the juices to go in the other direction. And you're going to come back this way. And then just kind of put the blade against the palm of your hand like that, and then just kind of go around and chop them. Be careful not to chop off your fingers. This also eliminates any spray back into your face. So there's those. Push them off into the container. And as I said, if you do have a slap chop or a food processor or something like that, feel free to use it. It does make this job a lot easier. These I'm just going to chop up the best I can. They're not going to be great. Sorry about the clicking sound. And just kind of pull them together and give them a good slice in half, like that and that. And I said I was going to show you the proper way to chop an onion, and I pretty much did, but this is, the aftermath part is kind of whatever. I do have a food processor, and I do have something similar to a slap chop. It's not a slap chop. Actually, I do have a slap chop somewhere. I have another item that's similar to both of those, but I don't feel like digging it out because then I'll have to wash it. So then all these other little parts that you picked up, as long as they're small diced up pieces, just pick them up and throw them in. Unless they've been on the floor or there's something gross on your counter, in which case I don't want to know. So there are our chopped up onions. Set those aside, and we're going to clean up the mess and then check on our buns. Okay, so I've washed all the onion residue off my hands just in case I accidentally wipe my face. I'm not going to get that in my eye. I did check on the buns. They are still toasting. They're still white, so I'm going to let them cook a little bit longer. Next up, we're going to need our hot dogs. You need 8 hot dogs according to the recipe. And I will use probably, I'll have to see how far it goes. I might end up using a few more depending on how many I have in this pack. That is 6. That is 8. I still have 4 more that I can use if I need them. But we're going to start with the 8. Now what you want to do is cut these up as well. So I'm going to start with just 2 here. I'm just going to cut them into bite-sized pieces. It's good for kids. Like so. If you want to cut these in half, you can. Actually, I think I'm going to. Well, no, I'm going to leave them as just bite-sized pieces. I grab another bowl here that I can throw these in as I cut them. Alright, so here's my next 2. If you want to know a good way to know how far to cut, as you can see 2 are stuck to the knife, so just move until those 2 are back at the end. And that's your next cut, and they'll be approximately even. Just a easy tip there. Okay, so there's 4 hot dogs cut up. And on to our next 2. Like so. and our final two unless I choose to use more, which I might. I don't know yet. I still got 2 buns left over. Wouldn't make much sense to have 2 hot dog buns left over and no hot dogs. So most I could use would maybe another 2 out of the pack. But I think we might have enough here with what we got. So there are our chopped up hot dogs. Let's try one out, just see how they taste. Delicious. I'm going to wash my hands again, and I'm going to check on the buns again. Okay, so I just took our buns out of the oven, and as you can see, they are still white. They are slightly toasted, but they are getting stiff, which is what we want. We just basically don't want them to get too mushy when we pour all the other stuff on top. And the oven is still on because these will go back in just a minute, but I'm going to show you the next step now. Okay, so I've repositioned the camera a little bit. So now what we want to do is over top of our buns, just sprinkle some of your hot dogs. Just kind of scatter them around a bit. If you had a deep enough cake pan, I could actually say get 2 packs of hot dog buns and a whole pack of 2 packs of hot dogs, and you could probably make a double layer of this. I'm not going to do all that because that would involve running back to the store. But as you can see, just kind of dashing them around here a bit, spread them out, nice even amount all over everything. So it looks roughly like that. Okay, so there is the hot dogs. Now we're going to go to our chili and give it a shake just to loosen it up a bit. And this does have the pull tab, so you don't even need a can opener for this. Now you just kind of want to spread it around all over everything. I almost wish I'd gotten a second can of this to do this, because I'm probably going to need more than what I have here. You're supposed to be able to evenly coat everything, and I don't think I'm going to get that far. Okay, so it says 1 can, 1 15-ounce can of chili. I'd probably do 2 just so you get more coverage. Maybe 1 will be enough. And just kind of spread it around a little bit. Use a spatula if you need to. And just kind of do once over like that. If you use 2, it'll get a little bit better coverage, but you don't want to overdo it. Then you're going to take your onions here, and you're going to sprinkle those over top. Like so. It says about 1/4 cup. I'd say however much this is. Looks good to me. Right? Look good to you guys? Looks good to me. Okay, so then you can see we still got all this onion, so I can use that in something tomorrow. So we'll put a lid on that and put it in the fridge. Now the next item is our mustard. It says to use 1 tablespoon of mustard. I don't know how you're going to drizzle a tablespoon over this, so I'm just going to eyeball it here. And you just kind of want to give it a nice little zigzag pattern like so. Don't overdo it. Something about like that. And as I said, the recipe does not call for this, but I'm going to add it anyway. And I'm going to add some ketchup. Even though the recipe doesn't call for this, I'm not a big fan of heavy amounts of mustard without something to balance it. So you just kind of want to do the same thing, just lightly drizzle the ketchup. Depending on what type of ketchup you got, it'll either come out fast or slow, but try not to overdo it too much. This is Hunt, so it tends to be a little bit more runny. But just kind of like that. I don't have any on hand, but if you had like pickles or something, you could chop up pickles and throw it in there too. It's up to you. Or a little bit of relish over top. I don't know. Whatever crap you normally put on a hot dog. And the final item here is our shredded cheddar cheese. And you just want to kind of go over it a bit. Like so. It says approximately 2 cups, which is usually one of the small bags. I bought a big bag the other day just because I plan on using it for quite a bit of stuff, so it's good to have it on hand. Now the first time I made this, I did tear up the hot dog buns like it said, and I wasn't really a fan of that because I didn't toast them beforehand. The second time I made this, I tried it with French fries as the base. French fries are hit and miss on when you bake them ahead of time. Either they are good or they're soggy. The ones I had ended up being kind of soggy. So I wasn't really a big fan of that either. The other thing I was thinking is you could potentially use tater tots. Make your tater tots, then throw them in the pan as your base, cover them with the hot dogs and chili, and it would probably be fairly decent. But I haven't tried that yet. Okay, so now we got the cheese over the top. If you want to throw some more onions on, go ahead. I'm not going to because there's plenty of onions in it already. Now we're going to pop this back in the oven for, I believe, 30 minutes. Let me check to be sure. Yeah, so this goes back in the oven for 30 minutes, so let's pop it in, and we'll see you guys in 30 minutes. Also, on a quick side note while that's baking, if you're one of the type of people that likes this stuff, go ahead and use some Dijon mustard. This is spicy brown mustard or Dijon mustard, either one. It's hot dogs. Whatever you like on your hot dogs, like I said. So, yeah, if you want to use this instead of the regular yellow mustard, go for it. Alright kids, it's been 30 minutes, so let's take a look at our delicious little oven creation here. I was going to let it cook an extra couple minutes, but it looks like the cheese is actually starting to toast up a little bit, which I don't want, so I'm going to take it out. And as always, remember to turn off your oven when you are done. And also, which I forgot to say at the beginning, because I forgot to do it yet again, if your parents keep things in the oven, take them out before you preheat, because I forgot again, and this time I was smart enough to use pot holders and didn't burn my hand trying to pull them out. So there's our finished creation. I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes to cool. As you can see, the cheese was starting to toast along the edges there, which is going to make it hard to scrape off the pan. But this cheese still looks good, so I think we're in business. I'm going to let it sit for 5 minutes. I'm going to come back, cut into it, and we'll plate it up. So we will see you in 5. Alright guys, so it's been 5 minutes. This is cool. That's actually been a little bit closer to 10 because I was actually watching a YouTube video and wasn't paying attention to the time. So this has cooled a little bit, so I'm going to cut it up, plate it out, and let you guys see how it looks. I'm not sure what side is what here. Which way I laid the buns, I mean. So let's just go into it anywhere right around here. And I might as well go ahead and cut the rest of it because otherwise my mom's going to complain about having to cut her own food when she gets home. She probably won't want to eat this anyway. Okay, and I'm going to go right down the center, I think. I could have cut it into thirds, but we'll cut it in half. If you want to cut yours into thirds or fourths or whatever, like I could go again here and make it fourths, or I could have went like here and made thirds. I'm just going to do halves. Okay, so there we have that. Now let me find a good spatula here and figure out a way to do this. Another thing I forgot at the beginning is it actually said to spray the pan with cooking spray before you put the buns in. I didn't do that because I wanted them to crust up a little bit, and sometimes having that baking spray can actually make them not crust on the bottom, and like I said, I didn't want it to be all mushy. Let me see if I can get under this here. Like so. And get us our plate. And there we have it. And there we have our hot dog bake. So now I'm going to take a bite of this and let you guys know what I think. Alright guys, so there you have it. I got the taco bake on the counter here behind me, as you can see. I'm going to go eat, and yeah. Oh wait, I said I was going to let you guys see me take a bite, so again, you guys can see that I actually eat the food that I cook, because this is going to be my dinner. So, here we go. And bon appetit. That is actually a lot better than the first time I made it. So definitely toasting the buns ahead of time does help. But like I said, you can try it with French fries if you can get your French fries to cook. I usually have trouble cooking French fries. Like I said, they don't bake right. They always end up soggy. Try it with tater tots. Like I said before, this is a recipe meant for children. Something quick and easy you can make for your kids that they might enjoy. And kids like tater tots, so throw some tater tots in the bottom instead of the hot dog buns. Maybe they'll like it. If not, let them try it this way. See what they think. So that is it for this episode. Again, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Links are in the description and in the upper corner. And until next time, get out of the kitchen.